See, right here, this is where her whole sacred gear awakens. It's
Yo, what are you even watching?
Oh, babe, hey, it's an analysis.
Nah, don't even. You over here drooling over big-eyed cartoon chicks. Go be with one of your
Okay, now, before you brand this man as an anime gooner, please consider one of the great burdens for any thinker or artist is the realm of erotic, lewd, or vulgar things. They're profound in their own right, but jarring to the uninitiated. They are taboo and often make you look like a menace. Okay, but everyone has these thoughts. So are they just horny or holy? Should you express or suppress? Enter the Muse. There's a reason for salaciousness, and I think any anime watcher knows this well and can afford some insight to all other kinds of thinkers, from the ridiculous large busts of characters like Tsunade in Naruto and Rangiku or Halle Bell in Bleach, to downright degenerate expressions of lusts like Ceres Victorious in Hellsing and all sorts of other crazy things in that show, Slan in Berserk, and the many waifus of the notorious high school DxD harem. One might wonder why creators should be so inappropriate. Are they immature, profane, unable to contain their libido, or is there something sacred, fundamental, and deeply meaningful behind it all? In today's episode of Anime in the Inner World, we're diving headfirst into shame, vulgarity, and femininity, and where these supposedly primal aspects find purification in an eternal creative cycle through the Muse. As always, anime will be our proving ground, and viewer discretion is advised for this one, as this video contains some illicit imagery, as you could imagine. Muse, muse, muse. What is a muse? 3 definitions. 1, in Greek and Roman mythology, each of 9 goddesses, the daughters of Zeus and Mnemosyne, who preside over the arts and sciences. 2, a person or personified force who is the source of inspiration for a creative artist. And 3, to be absorbed in thought. Put simply, the muse is a cycle of creation and inspiration, expression and absorption in a cycle around the feminine. There's a great example of all this in Berserk, a classic notorious manga, one of the great masterpieces. Berserk follows Guts, a battle-scarred mercenary haunted by a brutal childhood and endless war. Casca is his comrade, eventual lover, and proud commander of the Band of Hawk, a fearless group of mercenaries led by a handsome visionary, Griffith. Now, there's one scene where a group of assailants push Casca off of a cliff during a battle. She plunges into a river gorge, and Guts has to rescue her. Now, when he finds her, she's drenched, extremely cold, and suffering from a fever. To help her, he disrobes her, coddles her body, and readies his weapon for protection. Now, is Guts a pervert? No. Does it look bad if you walk in on it? Yeah, if you jump to conclusions. Guts undresses Casca in this moment with a pure heart. His intention is to keep her safe. And in doing so, Guts exercises temperance and restraint and does not ogle her naked body. For their muse, a hero turns their strength into duty. The muse is the inspiration and catalyst. Notice the cyclic nature here, the transformative effect, strength into duty, perversion into reverence, a rhythm. But how does a villain treat their muse? Griffith, that visionary we talked about, only sees Casca and the Band of Hawk as a means to an end, instruments to create a new world order. In a last-ditch effort to manifest his vision, he sacrifices Casca and the Band of Hawk to a legion of demons called the God Hand. And here he doesn't protect Casca, he consumes and defiles her. Much like the eclipse itself, the light of inspiration turns dark. There's a similar abuse of the muse in Naruto Shippuden with Sasuke and Karin. Naruto Shippuden is a continuation of the original Naruto series where the main protagonist Naruto wants to rehabilitate his main rival Sasuke, who has defected against their village because of a perceived injustice. Genocide of his whole family, the Uchiha clan. Fair enough. He has a team of loyal sympathizers, one of which is a muse, Karin. She is obsessed with him. But again, like Griffith, he uses her obsession for his own agenda. He absorbs her adoration without any reciprocity, leading her on a path of terrorism and destruction. The difference for Sasuke is that he eventually finds the light and does right by his future wife and muse, Sakura, who's a just woman. So his is a story of redemption. In both cases, Griffith and Sasuke, they use the muse selfishly, expressing their feminine inspiration as chaos. Again, we see the cycle. Absorb influence of the muse, expression of a response. In the case of Guts, his response is to protect. For Griffith and Sasuke, it's to destroy. But it isn't only the hero or the villain that express themselves. The muse themselves express their beauty and inspiration. Likewise, there is a righteous and a selfish way to do that. Let's take a closer look at expression of the muse. And we'll start with the wrong way to express, with Asuka in Evangelion. Young and ambitious Asuka immigrates to Tokyo to pilot Eva 2, a giant cyborg designed to defend Japan from city-destroying monsters called angels. She has a bright orange aesthetic, a flamboyant personality, and wounded psychology. She now seeks attention her family never gave her and pilots the Eva for the glory. But a savior cannot be selfish, and an Eva is not a toy. Filled with an inflated ego and wounded pride, she tragically dies fighting an angel, yet what truly killed her were her own demons. Another example of a muse's distorted expression is back in Berserk with Slan. One of the 5 members of the God Hand, the demons to whom Griffith made his earlier sacrifice, Slan is a literal succubus, an ancient demon that sucks the sexual essence out of men. Her design is erotic and predatory. In one scene, she ensnares Guts with tentacles and tries to tempt him. Under the stress of desire, Guts stays focused and pushes through, escaping her trap. He chooses not to absorb her lewd expression. This is really noteworthy because it shows that the subject displays the will to deny a muse's influence. And right here we transition from expression to absorption. In the case of Guts, he denies an overtly evil muse. But a hero may also deny a muse that means well out of respect for himself, his mission, and the muse themselves. They can choose what to absorb. A good example of this is Gon in Hunter x Hunter. One of my favorite manga anime. It's so charming. It's so beautiful, this story. Hunter x Hunter follows Gon Freaks, a young boy who sets out to find his long-lost father, a legendary hunter, which is an elite adventurer capable of facing the world's most dangerous threats. To do so, Gon must become a world-class hunter himself, face the world's greatest evils, and wrestle to maintain his innocence as he comes of age. Along the way, a young admirer named Palm falls for him. She's wildly unkempt at first, but tidies herself up to get Gon's attention. And one night, as they sit together near a lake, she asks to be Gon's girlfriend. And he declines, but with respect, prioritizing his mission and still leaving a positive impact on Palm. He also chooses, in this circumstance, not to absorb the muse's influence, but it isn't this decision. And it's this decision that makes Gon who he is. A man with integrity, a mission, someone who's trustworthy. This is why Palm likes him in the first place. In this case, the act of not absorbing the muse is actually honoring and enriching the muse, thus making the hero the muse. Because Palm is now the one who draws positive inspiration from Gon and uses it to make herself better. And the cycle continues. Gon is driven by justice, fueled by the muse. Even though it's his father he pursues, he inherently defends the women and children of the world. But in doing so, he becomes such an impressive figure that others are now inspired by him, making him a muse. So you might ask now, oh, Gon is a muse? How could he be a muse if he's male? I thought this was about femininity. Well, this is part 1 of a 4-part Muse in Anime series. Tune in for part 2, The Divine Aesthetic, or check out the full series in one video right here.